Greetings Exiles, I'm CodRayZeal, and joining me today as always are Sir Reginald Amadeus Fortescue III and Frank. Say hi guys.
Hi.
And today I'm just going to give you a brief overview of my Righteous Fire Chieftain, which I've chosen to do in the Solo Self-Found Flashback League. Now, I thought about doing this on hardcore, but I actually want to see how far this goes, and having some ridiculous death or even avoidable death will kind of ruin that, and I'll never get to see how far this build could have gone. With that said, there is a fairly intricate plan at work here. I thought about it quite a while before starting this build. And the first thing was to figure out a way to use the Chieftain's Ascendancy efficiently in Solo Self-Found, because I determined that there was no real reason to use a Chieftain for Righteous Fire in a regular trade league. So let's go over the idea I had for Righteous Fire on a Chieftain. Now, starting off, I would pick up Tau Hoa. Now this gives us some regen per endurance charge, kind of mimicking the effect of Kaom's Way, which is nice because we don't really have access to trading, and therefore it'll be a long time before we get a Kaom's Way. And then next, so that I could start Righteous Fire early, regardless of gear, I got Ramako, Sun's Light. This gives us a lot of fire resistance, as well as quite a lot of life regen, and also some physical damage reduction in the form of conversion. So my idea was that once I got this, I'd be able to run Righteous Fire pretty easily, which was true. I did find a Spring Leaf while leveling, as well as a Meginord's Vice. But soon I'll be able to unequip those and go on with the original plan. Next, I'm going to pick up Arong Hui, and this is just the only other node that's going to benefit us as pure Righteous Fire while we're still using Elemental Equilibrium. So it was here that my original build planning kind of fell apart, because the best thing we can do now is pick up some life regen and damage, and that didn't seem too exciting to me. So initially in Bestiary League I made a character that used Blade Vortex as the main damage dealer. Now this was a self-cast Blade Vortex, and this did not feel good at all. It was at this point that I saw Wolfio's guide on the Scorching Ray cast while channeling Blade Vortex, and that looked really cool. So I thought, okay, well, it's going to take a while to get an Elder Staff to be able to do the cast while channeling efficiently, which would give me the time to get all of the trials done and whatnot in Solo Self-Found, making it the perfect build for Solo Self-Found growth. So once I get that staff and access to the Uber Labyrinth, I'll refund Arong Hui and go for Namahu. This will give us some extra damage on our Blade Vortex, as well as converting most of it to fire, all of it if I use Avatar of Fire, which I intend to. And then from there, picking up Hinekora. Now this gives us some fire damage leech, which will leech from our Blade Vortex. It gives us some increased strength in case I have enough strength to use Iron Will. And then it also gives us the covers enemies in Ash, which gives 20% increased fire damage taken to them. So that should all work out pretty well, provided I can get that Elder Staff and, you know, get to that point, which is currently the plan. Although I have been going pretty slowly at the moment. So yeah, the main reason to go Chieftain is early on in the league, when you don't have access to all the gear and stuff. A lot of what makes Righteous Fire work is available on the Chieftain Ascendancy. Now at the same time, these things are readily available on gear in a regular trade league, so it's kind of not a good idea to do this late into a trade league. So I've reached level 68 so far, and I've just reached Act 10. I did get distracted by the league mechanics quite a bit, because I figured what's the harm in spending a little extra time farming, you know, Perandus and whatnot. And let's go over the gear I acquired by doing that. So first of all, I picked up a skull head, which actually works pretty well for this build because it gives our minions a bit of extra tankiness as well as giving us resists and life, which is pretty much what we want from a helm at this stage. So I'll probably keep the skull head on for a decent amount of time. My shield, which I found relatively early I believe, is a spring leaf, so I just kept that in my stash, and as soon as I was able to run Righteous Fire, I put it on. Before that, I was using Righteous Fire on a spell totem along with Searing Bond. I do not recommend leveling this way, as I probably would have gotten just as far using melee just as quickly. My boots, I pretty much just found these from a quest reward, believe it or not, and yeah, they're pretty perfect since we get so much fire resistance from the Ascendancy. Getting lightning and cold resistance on these boots as well as high movement speed and the ability to craft dexterity was great. My belt, I just found a leather belt with a double life roll, and that is what I'm using. I'm using Metanord's Vice. I have over 400 strength, so this is a pretty much solid choice and will likely be here for some time, since it's not like I'm going to be able to just get an Essence of Delirium and craft gloves whenever I feel like it. My weapon, I found this at some point. High increased fire damage, so I thought, okay, well, I'll craft more fire damage on this since I didn't have Vagan at the time to get some attack speed. But yeah, just pretty standard Righteous Fire Scepter. I did find a Calm Sign Coral Ring. Coral! And yeah, I intend to keep that on there and hopefully keep running prophecies until I get the Calm's Way upgrade, and then I will have a Calm's Way, which will be awesome. I found a pretty nice amulet while leveling, so that'll probably stick around for a while. And I just found this ring which has dexterity, life, and some chaos resist, which is pretty cool. My flasks at the moment, I'm using just really shitty flasks. Most importantly, crafted from the bestiary recipe you get from catching the fawn in the climb. I crafted 2 Quicksilver flasks of adrenaline, which have really helped speed the leveling process. And anyone playing in bestiary now, I highly recommend this. So that pretty much sums up the idea for the build. I'm going to take advantage of the bestiary recipes mainly to gain prophecies. If you run and farm the Tidal Island when it's got some good mods attached to it, things like Breach and whatnot, then you can just run around there and grab some Deep One's Presence crabs and just get a whole bunch of free prophecies. So that is my plan aside from maps. For the maps, I'll be taking advantage of Harbinger League's Orbs of Binding to try and complete my Atlas, hopefully up to tier 10, and then from there hopefully transition into my cast while channeling build and do the red tier maps with my cast while channeling build. But we'll see how all that goes. I'm going to see exactly how far I can take this, and that's pretty much it. So I hope you stay tuned to see how this all goes. If you'd like to stay tuned, then do subscribe to the video, and if you did enjoy this content, then do like the video. So from myself, Sir Reginald Amadeus Fortescue III, and Frank, we'd like to say good luck and stay juicy.